And cost of production, you're talking about $1.66 a pound US, and if that's copper equivalent, or if not, you copper only net of the co-products is negative 31 cents a pound. I mean, those are very compelling numbers, right? It's almost like you're not affected by the variable copper price. I mean, obviously this is the early stage of trying to get the numbers right. How much movement is there? Are we going to see like a big error? What's the plus or minus on that kind of stuff?
So in terms of the scoping study, we were assessing on a very informed basis using US consultants. We were assessing what the operating cost may be. Now, we were looking at a production profile of 1 million tonnes per annum for that. And as you say, on a copper equivalent basis, we see that we would average production of about 30,000 tonnes of copper equivalent metal a year. And that would comprise roughly 15,000 tonnes of copper metal and roughly 38,000 tonnes of zinc metal, and a little bit of lead, a little bit of silver, and a little bit of gold. Now, under that scenario, then the zinc production itself pays for the operation. Now, we were using a zinc price of $2,800 per tonne. So assuming zinc price, and today it's closer to 3,100, so there's 12% variation there on the upside for us. But assuming zinc price is $2,800 a tonne or better, it means we would be producing 15,000 tonnes of copper metal each year at nil cost, well, better than nil cost, at negative cost, because the zinc production pays for the copper. Now, how confident are we on those operating costs? Costs have changed. Costs have gone up with inflation, with wage growth. We have factored all that into our studies. Precisely where wage bill will be when we come into production in 2-3 years' time, then it may be higher, it may be lower. But regardless, the project is not sensitive to that operating cost because the zinc pays for that operating cost. The copper comes for free. Now, if we can be producing at 1.3 million tonnes per annum instead of 1 million tonnes per annum, then the operating costs that we've predicted, which I think is around $112 per tonne, that will come down marginally because we'll get economies of scale. Administration costs will be spread over 1.3 million tonnes instead of over 1 million tonnes per annum. We'll get some efficiencies in mining rates, we'll get some efficiencies in purchasing power, just because we're operating a larger rate. So that $112 a tonne is likely to come down a little bit, depending on wages, of course. But in terms of total operating costs, if everything's equal, it is cheaper to operate at 1.3 million tonnes per annum than it is 1 million tonnes per annum. So we aren't at all concerned about our operating costs.